From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,120 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $238. Antiwar.com reports on Sunday, Saudi Arabia was struggling to get its story on a helicopter attack in northern Yemen Strait. Attack helicopters came across the Saudi border into a Shiite town, killing 30 civilians. Though the Saudis initially touted the incident as killing rebels, they later denied it ever happened. On Monday, their attention turned south, with Saudi warplanes launching a series of airstrikes against a wedding party in Mocha, killing another 131 civilians in one of the single deadliest incidents of the entire war and leading to a flurry of international condemnation. Saudi officials figured out by Tuesday this huge toll was a problem and followed the well-tested strategy of simply claiming it didn't happen, but the reality is, with the massive civilian killings by Saudi aircraft a near daily occurrence, the denials are less credible than ever, and claims by the Saudi Foreign Ministry of their care in avoiding civilian deaths rings insultingly hollow. While the U.S. backing for the Saudi war has kept criticism to a minimum so far, the patience is wearing thin as the war drags on and the atrocities mount. Even UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, loath to point the finger at anybody, conceded on Monday that while both sides in Yemen are guilty of targeting civilians, the Saudi airstrikes are causing many more casualties. Direct U.S. involvement in the war also risks making this huge civilian toll America's problem, with Representative Ted Lieu in California, a former Air Force judge, advocate general, pressing General Joseph Dunford on whether the Pentagon is keeping track of the civilian toll in airstrikes they are facilitating, adding that at this point it's clear that the Saudi-led coalition is either grossly negligent or intentionally targeting civilians. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Cecil Richards, Planned Parenthood president, disputed claims the organization sells fetal tissue at a House committee hearing on Tuesday. Republicans on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee are seeking to bar Planned Parenthood from obtaining federal funds, largely on the pretext of videos purported to show officials of the health organization attempting to sell fetal tissue. In a prepared remark, Richards said the latest smear campaign is based on efforts by our opponents to entrap our doctors and clinicians into breaking the law, and once again, our opponents have failed. Richards said the videos were deceptively edited, released by a group that is dedicated to making abortion illegal, adding that Planned Parenthood only sells a small amount of fetal tissue and recovers only reasonable expenses within the law. She noted the majority of the group's federal funding comes through Medicare reimbursements and other payments for birth control and cancer screening services, and that no federal funding is directed to abortion services. The Republican push to block the funding comes as a stopgap spending bill to keep the government operating past Thursday is under consideration. ExpressCoin is the best choice for buying Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and more. ExpressCoin prides themselves on their customer service, so much so that the back end on the website should allow them to be even more focused on your needs. Get started at expresscoin.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Georgia's parole board denied a request for clemency by the lone woman on the state's death row just hours before her scheduled execution on Tuesday for her role in her husband's murder. The state's Board of Pardons and Parole met Tuesday to decide whether its refusal earlier this year to commute the sentence of Kelly Gissendander's sentence to life in prison should stand. Board members were not swayed by the inmate's latest appeal for clemency, which emphasized her model behavior in prison and remorse for plotting her husband's murder in 1997. They also did not appear moved by a letter sent by an archbishop on behalf of Pope Francis urging them to commute the inmate's death sentence. Several last-minute appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court and Georgia Supreme Court were denied. Gissendaner was executed at 12:21 a.m. on Wednesday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.